The Philippines, often regarded as one of the most vibrant and diverse countries in Asia, holds many intriguing and sometimes shocking truths beneath its colorful surface. Among these is a complex and controversial phenomenon that starkly reveals how societal values can sometimes be overshadowed by economic necessity and the pursuit of a better life. One of the most startling facts is that, in the Philippines, a country known for its warmth and hospitality, there exists a practice where women are essentially bought for a price that can be as low as $500, an amount roughly equivalent to the cost of a modern mobile phone. This unsettling reality highlights how, in some circumstances, human dignity becomes a commodity traded in a global marketplace, often at the expense of vulnerable individuals seeking hope and stability. This practice is part of a broader pattern observed in the Philippines, which has long been recognized as Asia's largest exporter of brides. Many women from this nation enter into marriages with foreigners through intermediaries, an arrangement that has come to be known as the phenomenon of correspondence brides. Over the years, this phenomenon has sparked intense debate and controversy, raising questions about morality, exploitation, and social justice. Historically, such marriages gained popularity among immigrants to the United States, where women from their home countries would often be arranged or facilitated by their families to marry men living abroad. These arrangements were popularly called picture brides, as photographs played a significant role in the initial stages of courtship. Typically, these unions were arranged through family connections, with the hope of securing a better future for the women and their families. However, the landscape of international marriage has transformed dramatically over the past 100 years. Today, the process has become more commercialized and globalized, with international marriage agencies operating extensively across the world. Instead of family arrangements, these agencies now attract women through various channels: newspapers, glossy magazines, handwritten letters, and increasingly, the vast reach of the internet. Many women are approached directly by these agencies, which post profiles of potential brides on websites, facilitating introductions and arranging meetings between men and women from different countries. The typical clients of these services are often middle-aged men from developed nations such as the United States, Canada, Australia, and Western European countries. For these men, marriage is sometimes viewed as a way to find companionship, stability, or even a new start. On the other side, many women, most of whom come from impoverished, underdeveloped regions, see these international marriages as a rare chance to escape the cycle of poverty that constrains their lives. According to Roxanne Sims, an academic whose research was published in the American Law Review in Div Taisachi Divat, annually between 300,000 and 500,000 Filipino women leave their homeland to marry men abroad. These women are often from rural communities where unemployment rates are alarmingly high and opportunities for economic advancement are scarce. In such difficult circumstances, the promise of a foreign husband offering financial security and a chance at a better life can be incredibly tempting. This vulnerability is skillfully exploited by marriage brokers and agencies, who present this arrangement as an accessible opportunity to change one's fate. It's important to clarify that the so-called cheap wife purchase is not a literal sale of a person, but rather a metaphor for the transactional nature of these arrangements. It is a payment for access, an opportunity for women to meet, choose, and potentially marry someone who is eager to escape their own circumstances of poverty. The process involves a fee, ranging from around $500 to $5,000, that covers contact arrangements, romantic tours to the Philippines, and assistance with visa applications, such as the fiancé visa. Women seeking these marriages often advertise themselves on websites like Live Directory, describing themselves as obedient, submissive, and good housewives, an artificially constructed ideal tailored to appeal to Western men. This portrayal of women as compliant and domestic is designed to fit the expectations and desires of the foreign clients, creating an illusion of the perfect wife. Sadly, these international agencies almost exclusively prioritize the interests of male clients, turning women into commodities in a marketplace where their value is often reduced to their potential as obedient spouses. Women are almost always treated as secondary to the needs of their prospective husbands, with little regard for their safety or well-being. And this is where the most serious danger lies. There are minimal protections for women during the process of dating and marriage. Women often find themselves vulnerable to dangerous clients, facing risks of physical violence, exploitation, and social isolation once they are in their new countries. Research conducted in the United States, Canada, and Taiwan reveals a troubling pattern. Many migrant women are unaware of the local laws that could protect them, and they become entirely dependent, financially and emotionally, on their husbands. This dependency leaves them extremely vulnerable in times of crisis, with limited means to seek help or escape abusive situations. In conclusion, while the practice of high-profile incidents such as the heartbreaking tragedy involving Susanna Blackwell, a Filipino woman tragically shot and killed by her husband inside a Seattle courthouse in the year 1995, have significantly drawn public attention to the complex and often troubling issues surrounding the Philippines and its people. These cases serve as stark reminders of the darker side of international relationships and the exploitation that can occur. Despite the Philippines having enacted legislation, specifically Republic Act No. 695, in the year 1990, which explicitly forbids the practice of marriage brokerage with foreign nationals, especially through modern communication channels like email and the internet, the problem persists. Many unscrupulous agencies continue to find ways around the law by establishing offices abroad or by disguising their activities under the guise of tourism or cultural programs, thus camouflaging their true intentions. Meanwhile, enforcement remains weak and underfunded. The local police forces often lack the resources, authority, or manpower necessary to effectively combat these illicit practices. This legislative and enforcement gap results in millions of Filipinas being caught in a transnational marriage market where their worth is grossly undervalued, often far below what should be recognized as the intrinsic value of a human life. After watching this video, we hope your initial reaction will not be one of superficial curiosity or misguided judgment about buying a wife without love. Instead, we encourage you to reflect with compassion on the plight of the women of the Philippines, recognizing their dignity and humanity. There is a deeper story here, one that calls for empathy and understanding rather than judgment. Stay with us, because ahead, there are more astonishing facts about this nation. Now, let us turn our gaze to a different part of the country, an area often associated with hardship, yet also with resilience. We are talking about a slum nestled in the very heart of Manila, the bustling capital city of the Philippines. In the midst of this densely populated urban landscape, there exists what some might call an urban paradise, but the reality tells a different story altogether. Out of the city's approximately 23 million residents, around 40% live under extremely challenging conditions. Beneath the overpasses and along the narrow, winding alleyways, more than 200,000 families, comprising roughly 850,000 individuals, struggle daily against severe pollution, deprivation, and a constant fight for survival. A single half-hour downpour is enough to flood these alleys, turning them into dangerous waterways with water levels comparable to a dove's height, which often leads to the spread of diseases and even causes dangerous landslides. During the summer months, temperatures frequently soar to 36 or 38 degrees Celsius, and combined with humidity levels hovering around 80%, the air becomes oppressively stifling. Access to basic necessities is inconsistent. Drinking water is untreated and contaminated, electricity supplies are intermittent at best, and the cost of 1 kilowatt-hour, an essential energy source, is almost double what it is in the city's more affluent central districts. The streets, narrow, dark, and choked with rubbish, are home to more than 2,600 residents per square mile, a density 5 times greater than the average for Manila as a whole. Life here is a daily struggle, with many surviving by taking on odd jobs. Security guards, for instance, earn around 500 to 600 pesos per day, which is roughly $8 to $10, while those working in the fields or markets earn about 8,000 pesos monthly, approximately $140. Despite these harsh realities, scenes of resilience and human spirit abound. Families share donated rice, children laugh and play despite the hardships, and moments of warmth and community shine through the adversity. They face not only natural disasters and health risks but also the weight of harsh governmental policies, including resettlement plans that often displace families without providing adequate alternatives. The government's efforts to phase out old jeepneys, iconic yet highly polluting vehicles, are part of this struggle. Over 60% of the remaining fleet operate on outdated diesel engines, contributing heavily to pollution and climate problems. These measures add further pressure on the already strained community. This vivid depiction of the deep divide between Manila's wealth and its poverty reveals not just statistics but also the profound human solidarity that persists amid hardship. Beyond the numbers, there beats a resilient heart filled with hope for a better tomorrow. From the urban struggles of Manila, we now turn our attention to the rural, mystical village where the living and the dead share the same sacred space. But before we proceed, take a moment, just 5 seconds, to appreciate this video and reflect on its message. Your support means everything to us. Now, let us continue with this special edition, beginning with the hauntingly beautiful sight of the hanging coffins of Sagada, concealed within the mist-shrouded mountains of the Philippines. Nestled in the lush, mountainous region of the northern Philippines, specifically within the remote and serene confines of the mountain province, lies the quaint town of Sagada. This peaceful settlement is renowned not only for its breathtaking scenery but also for harboring one of the most extraordinary and culturally unique funeral traditions in the entire world. Perched high above the ground, sometimes on the sheer faces of towering cliffs, are the ancient coffins that have become a defining feature of Sagada's landscape. For generations, the indigenous Kankanai people, who have lived in harmony with the surrounding mountain forests for centuries, have maintained this distinctive method of honoring their departed loved ones. Rather than opting for conventional burial practices, they have developed a ritual that involves placing the deceased within small, carefully crafted wooden coffins. These coffins are then either suspended from the precipices of steep cliffs or nestled deep inside cold, shadowy caves. This practice is deeply rooted in their spiritual beliefs and worldview. According to their faith, the closer the resting place is to the heavens, symbolized by the lofty heights of the cliffs, the easier it becomes for the soul of the departed to ascend and reunite with their ancestors and divine beings. This symbolic elevation acts as a spiritual bridge, facilitating the journey of the soul into the afterlife. There is also a practical rationale behind this tradition. Placing coffins high above ground provides natural protection from various threats. For instance, wild animals are less likely to disturb the remains, and the risk of flooding damaging the graves is significantly minimized. Despite the grandeur of these hanging coffins, the size of each is surprisingly small. The bodies are carefully laid in a tightly curled, almost fetal position, reflecting a profound connection to the origins of life. This posture symbolizes a return to the source, an embrace of the most fundamental state of existence, suggesting that death is merely a return to the beginning. Today, this remarkable ritual has become increasingly rare, but its traces can still be seen vividly in Sagada. The weathered, time-worn coffins continue to cling to the rugged Ecovalley rock face, standing as silent witnesses to a centuries-old tradition. When travelers gaze upward at these wooden boxes hanging precariously in the air, many are struck by a profound question. Why did their ancestors choose such an audacious and daring way to bid farewell? This question lingers in the minds of those who visit, prompting reflection on the deep spiritual and practical reasons behind this unique practice. Sagada, therefore, transcends the status of merely a travel destination. It functions as a portal to another realm, a place where humanity, death, and nature converge in an almost mystical harmony. The town embodies a quiet, enchanting balance, where the natural environment and sacred customs intertwine seamlessly, creating a landscape that feels both timeless and otherworldly. Beyond these cultural marvels, Sagada is also home to some of the most extraordinary creatures, whose first encounters leave a lasting impression. One such creature is the pygmy tarsier, often regarded as the smallest primate in the world. Standing at only about 10 to 15 centimeters tall, roughly the size of a human fist, this tiny primate possesses an astonishing ability. It can leap incredible distances, up to 40 times its own body length, demonstrating a remarkable power packed into a miniature frame. Behind its adorable, almost doll-like appearance lies a creature of extraordinary agility and strength. The tarsier is predominantly nocturnal, meaning it is active during the night, and with its enormous, luminous eyes, each as large as its brain, its gaze appears almost alien to the untrained observer. These large eyes provide exceptional night vision, allowing the tarsier to navigate and hunt in the dense forests of the islands of Bohol, Leyte, and Mindanao, where it calls home. Its long, flexible toes grant it the agility needed to move effortlessly through the tangled canopy of trees, where it hunts insects and other small prey, playing a vital role in maintaining the ecological balance within these lush habitats. However, despite their resilience and adaptability, tarsiers are incredibly shy creatures. They are highly sensitive to sudden noises or bright flashes of light, which can cause them extreme stress, sometimes fatally so. This delicate nature has led conservationists to establish sanctuaries like the Philippine Tarsier Sanctuary in Bohol, where strict rules are enforced to ensure their safety. Visitors are required to maintain complete silence, and the use of flash photography is strictly prohibited, to avoid startling these fragile beings. Miraculously, tarsiers are capable of turning their heads almost 180 degrees, similar to owls, allowing them to scan their surroundings with remarkable flexibility, further aiding their survival in the dark. As skilled insect hunters, tarsiers are crucial for their ecosystems, helping to control insect populations and maintain ecological harmony. Yet, their survival faces increasing threats, as rapid deforestation and urbanization threaten to wipe out their natural habitats. The forests that once provided sanctuary for these tiny primates are rapidly. Approximately 6,000 inhabitants live amidst a landscape filled with millions of graves, transforming what was once a solemn cemetery into a lively, unconventional community. Over time, the traditional stone tombstones and mausoleums, which once marked the resting places of the departed, have been repurposed into makeshift residences. These structures serve as temporary homes for those who dwell here, blending the boundary between life and death in an unexpected way. The narrow, winding pathways that once separated the graves have been deliberately filled with earth and bricks, creating rudimentary walkways that facilitate movement through this peculiar neighborhood. But this cemetery has evolved far beyond its original purpose. It has become a bustling hub of activity and commerce, a place where everyday life continues amidst the tombstones. Small shops have sprung up along the paths, offering a variety of goods and refreshments such as coconut water, steaming cups of coffee, and freshly fried donuts. Even more surprisingly, the area now hosts educational institutions like kindergartens, providing early childhood education amid the graves. During special occasions, especially on All Souls' Day, November 2nd, the cemetery transforms into a vibrant scene of family gatherings and remembrance. On this day, relatives come together to honor their ancestors, filling the air with stories, prayers, and memories. In this unusual community, many residents have found ways to earn extra income by serving as informal guides. They share stories about the most famous individuals buried within the grounds or recount local legends that have been passed down through generations. Some tend to specific graves, offering maintenance and care as a way of earning a livelihood. Despite the cramped living conditions, persistent pollution, and the ambiguous legal status of their dwellings, this community has managed to establish a system of mutual aid and support. Here, life and death coexist in a surprising harmony, giving rise to a community that, although unconventional, is united by resilience and a shared sense of humanity. Moving from this extraordinary local scene to a broader perspective, the Philippines is an archipelago comprising a staggering 7,641 islands. To many, this number might seem almost unbelievable, a vast collection of landmasses spread across the ocean. This count, officially updated in 2017 following a comprehensive geographic survey conducted by the National Mapping and Information Resources Authority, reflects the country's remarkable diversity. From Luzon, the largest and most populous island where the bustling capital, Manila, is located, to Mindanao in the south, renowned for its fertile plains and vibrant indigenous Muslim communities, the Philippines presents a miniature universe of Southeast Asia. Nestled within this archipelago is the Visayas, a central grouping of islands that serve as the cultural and tourism heart of the nation. Among these islands, the world-famous Boracay stands out as one of the most beautiful beaches on the planet, attracting millions of visitors each year with its pristine sands and crystal-clear waters. Also within the Visayas is ISBU, a historic trading center dating back to the 15th century, when the Spanish established a hub for commerce and cultural exchange. Each island, with its unique landscape, history, and culture, forms a chapter in the grand story of the Philippines, contributing to its complex mosaic of peoples, languages, beliefs, and ecosystems. According to National Geographic, the Philippines ranks among the most biodiverse island nations on Earth, especially noted for its coral reefs and coastal waters. Situated within the Coral Triangle, an area that hosts more than 75% of all known coral species globally, the country is a vital ecological treasure. Its coral reefs span over 36,000 square kilometers and are home to hundreds of rare and exotic fish species. These rich ecosystems make the Philippines not only a paradise for tourists but also a critical area for ecological preservation and scientific research, demanding stringent protection measures. However, despite the impressive number of islands, 7,641, only about 2,000 are inhabited. The remaining islands remain largely untouched, silent witnesses to pristine nature and untouched landscapes. These uninhabited islets embody the dreams of explorers and represent opportunities for sustainable tourism and scientific exploration in the 21st century. Yet, managing such a vast and dispersed archipelago presents formidable challenges. The task of safeguarding sovereignty over these islands, protecting their fragile ecosystems from environmental threats, and ensuring balanced development across the entire nation requires extraordinary effort and coordination. The Philippines is also one of the most vulnerable countries in the world when it comes to climate change. Rising sea levels, increasingly frequent tropical storms, and coastal erosion threaten the existence of many small islands and coastal communities. Many fishing villages face the heartbreaking prospect of displacement as their traditional ways of life are gradually washed away or rendered impossible by environmental changes. For countless residents living along the coastline, the fight to preserve their homes and livelihoods has become a daily struggle against the relentless forces of nature. Thanks to its uniquely advantageous geographic position nestled between the South China Sea and the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, the Philippines remains a vital maritime hub within the Asia-Pacific region. This strategic location has transformed the archipelago into a vibrant crossroads of cultures, where diverse influences converge and intertwine over centuries. Here, the legacy of Spanish colonization, American presence, Chinese trade routes, and Islamic traditions blend seamlessly, creating a rich, layered cultural identity that is as complex as it is fascinating. The country is also home to more than 175 indigenous languages and dialects, each echoing the distinct histories and traditions of its many communities. Every island, whether large or small, contributes to the intricate mosaic that forms the nation's unique character, making the Philippines a truly remarkable tapestry of human diversity. Beyond its cultural richness, the Philippines is renowned worldwide for its extraordinary biodiversity, making it one of the planet's most ecologically diverse nations. Walking across its islands, one might encounter the thrill of discovering previously unknown plant or animal species at almost every turn. The archipelago is much more than a tropical paradise. It is a genuine jewel of ecological significance. It functions as a micro-kingdom of life, where endemic and rare species outnumber those found in many larger countries combined. According to a comprehensive report by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, along with Conservation International, the Philippines qualifies as one of the world's 17 megadiverse countries. These nations are distinguished by hosting at least 5,000 species of vascular plants and possessing exceptionally high levels of endemism, the presence of species found nowhere else on Earth. With over 7,000 islands, the country offers a myriad of ecosystems that range from vibrant coral reefs to lush primary tropical forests, from imposing volcanoes to mysterious limestone caves. It is the habitat for more than 52,000 species of plants and animals, nearly half of which are endemic, meaning they are exclusive to this region. A Dave Taisachi Devadkat study published in the journal Frontiers in Biogeography highlighted that Luzon, the largest island, alone shelters over 1,000 endemic mammal species. Meanwhile, on the island of Mindoro, tropical forests safeguard the tamarau, a rare dwarf buffalo with an estimated population of only a few hundred individuals, making it critically endangered. Under the waters surrounding the Philippines lies the renowned Coral Triangle, a global epicenter of marine biodiversity. This underwater wonderland is home to over 75% of all reef-building corals and more than 2,000 fish species. The UNESCO-listed Tubedaha reefs exemplify this underwater grandeur, showcasing vibrant coral gardens teeming with life. Yet, the richness of biodiversity here is not merely a matter of impressive statistics. It is a product of the archipelago's isolation and its complex evolutionary history. The vast number of islands, more than 7,000, are separated by wide stretches of sea, providing countless species with the opportunity to evolve independently over millions of years. This phenomenon has given rise to unique species such as the tarsier, a tiny primate with enormous eyes, which survives only on the islands of Bohol and a few other locations. However, this paradise of biodiversity faces serious threats. The World Wildlife Fund reports that the Philippines has experienced one of the highest rates of deforestation in Asia, having lost approximately 97% of its primary forests within the span of a single century. Human activities such as poaching, illegal logging, agricultural expansion, and the impacts of climate change are pushing many endemic species toward the brink of extinction. The delicate coral reefs are particularly vulnerable, suffering from mass bleaching events caused by rising ocean temperatures due to global warming. These environmental challenges threaten not only the rich biological heritage of the Philippines but also the livelihoods of local communities and the health of the global environment. Have you ever visited the Philippines and experienced its natural wonders firsthand? If so, share your impressions and stories in the comments below, so others can learn more about this extraordinary country. When it comes to natural disasters, the Philippines is not merely a hotspot. It is a veritable supermarket of calamities, where nearly everything that the elements can unleash is available. Situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire and extending into the northwest typhoon belt, the country faces frequent seismic activity, volcanic eruptions, and devastating typhoons, making it a place where resilience and adaptation are vital for survival. Every year, the Philippines endures an astonishing average of 20 powerful typhoons, storms that often leave a trail of destruction in their wake. This archipelago has, for over 16 consecutive years, from 2009 right up to the present, held the grim distinction of being the country most at risk in the entire world. In this tropical nation, more than 60% of the landmass is perpetually vulnerable to natural calamities such as floods, landslides, and earthquakes. Simultaneously, a staggering 74% of the population lives under the constant shadow of these threats, facing the relentless possibility of tsunamis and prolonged droughts. Current data firmly place the Philippines at the top of the Global Risk Index, underscoring just how precariously its people live amid these natural hazards. The threats here are not limited solely to storms. The country's geographic and geological characteristics expose it to an even broader spectrum of disasters, including volcanic eruptions, recurring seismic activity, and relentless heavy rains that often cause catastrophic landslides. The Red Cross has aptly described the Philippines as a disaster supermarket, a vivid metaphor for how the nation's shelves are stocked with supplies to withstand everything from fierce typhoons to devastating earthquakes and destructive tsunamis. Among these calamities, one stands out as particularly notorious: Super Typhoon Haiyan, known locally as Yolanda, which struck in 2013. This superstorm claimed the lives of more than 6,300 people, injured over 28,000 others, and rendered nearly 500,000 homes uninhabitable. The city of Tacloban was inundated by towering 5-meter waves, and millions were forced to evacuate their homes in frantic attempts to escape the storm's wrath. Images of devastated villages, shattered communities, and desperate survivors have left an indelible mark on the global consciousness, a stark reminder of nature's fury. Yet, the danger faced by the Philippines extends far beyond storms alone. The country's position at the meeting point of the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate results in an extraordinarily active seismic zone. On average, each year witnesses approximately 817 earthquakes with a magnitude of 4 or greater within 300 kilometers of the islands, equivalent to roughly one quake every 10 hours. Earthquakes of magnitude 6 occur approximately once every 15 months, and those of magnitude 7 happen roughly once every 3 years. These seismic events are capable of shattering buildings, cracking roads, and triggering deadly landslides, putting millions of lives at risk. The threat is compounded by the presence of over 300 volcanoes scattered across the islands, of which 24 are classified as active. Among these, Taal Volcano and Canlaon are particularly notable. On May 13, 2025, these volcanoes erupted simultaneously, ejecting ash clouds that soared to 4.5 kilometers into the sky, an ominous display of nature's uncontrollable power. Each eruption plunges nearby communities into chaos. Ash falls blanket villages, streams of lava threaten to cascade down slopes, and the air becomes thick with volcanic ash, obscuring the sky and disrupting daily life. From the ground-shaking tremors of earthquakes to the ash clouds that darken the heavens, the Philippines stands as a vivid testament to the raw, unpredictable force of nature. These natural phenomena serve as both a reminder of the Earth's volatile temperament and a challenge for its resilient inhabitants. Amid these natural disasters, there exists a deep-rooted cultural and religious practice known as penitencia, a ritual that involves self-flagellation and acts of extreme physical endurance. Each year, during Holy Week, the streets of towns like Pampanga and Laguna, and even the bustling heart of Manila, are filled with haunting sounds and sights. The air resonates with the screams of pain, echoing through the streets as participants enact acts of penance that merge suffering with spiritual devotion. This is not mere spectacle. It is penite, one of the most controversial and intense religious practices in the Philippines. Under the relentless sun, groups composed mostly of men conceal their faces and walk barefoot on scorching pavements, holding bamboo whips that fall rhythmically against their backs or shoulders. Blood often begins to seep through their clothing, testament to the brutal discipline they willingly endure. Some carry heavy wooden crosses on their shoulders, while others go as far as to reenact the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, with nails driven into their hands or feet, symbolizing the ultimate act of suffering and sacrifice. Why do these individuals voluntarily accept such excruciating pain? For many, it is believed that physical suffering purifies the soul, acting as a form of spiritual cleansing. It is seen as an act of repentance, a way to atone for sins, or fulfill a sacred vow made to God. These acts of self-mortification are deeply embedded in the religious fabric of the nation, representing a profound expression of faith and devotion that has persisted through generations, despite their extreme and controversial nature. In the Philippines, there exists a profound and deeply rooted tradition known as panada, a solemn vow that holds immense spiritual significance. This vow is more than just a promise. It is a sacred commitment made to God, one that believers hold to with unwavering conviction, believing it to be unbreakable once taken. For many, this act of devotion is not a one-time event but a recurring pilgrimage, a ritual they return to year after year to reaffirm their faith and devotion. One notable example is Ruben Enaje, who has undergone crucifixion more than 30 times since 1985, demonstrating an extraordinary level of dedication. For these individuals, such acts are not merely acts of penance but expressions of pure, unshakable faith, something that transcends simple belief or fear. To them, it is an act of surrendering themselves entirely to their spiritual convictions. Yet, this intense form of religious expression is not without controversy. The Catholic Church, which officially guides and sometimes discourages such extreme acts, has issued warnings about the inherent dangers involved. They emphasize the risks of infections, significant blood loss, and heat stroke that can accompany these acts of penance. The Ministry of Health has also repeatedly advocated for safer, less hazardous forms of spiritual reflection, such as fasting, prayer, or engaging in charitable deeds, methods that allow believers to demonstrate their faith without risking their physical well-being. Despite these warnings, many Filipinos regard these rituals as more than mere tradition. They see them as a profound spiritual journey. In these acts of pain and sacrifice, blood and wounds transform into symbols of gratitude and a desperate plea for divine intervention. For those participating, every blow and every wound embodies not only physical suffering but also a sacred act of devotion, an offering of their bodies as a testament to their faith, sacrifice, and spiritual devotion. Would you dare to witness such a controversial and intense ritual firsthand? What are your initial impressions when contemplating an event where pain and faith intertwine so deeply? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. This ritual stands out as one of the most provocative and debated religious practices in the Philippines. The Philippines is a unique nation within Asia, a continent where the dominant religious landscape is often shaped by Buddhism, Islam, and Hinduism. Yet, the Philippines distinguishes itself as the only country in Asia where the majority of the population adheres to Christianity. According to data from the Philippine Statistics Authority in 2020, more than 92% of the residents identified themselves as Christians. Of these, approximately 81% are Catholics, while the remaining percentage belongs to various Protestant, evangelical, and independent Christian churches. What makes this religious identity particularly remarkable is that Catholicism here is not simply a foreign import. It has become deeply ingrained in the very fabric of Filipino culture, politics, and daily life. This religious influence dates back to the period of Spanish colonization, which lasted from 1655 to 1898. The story of Catholicism's spread in the Philippines begins with Ferdinand Magellan's arrival in 1621, when he set foot on the islands. Along with his ships, he brought not only navigational instruments and flags but also a cross and a Bible, symbols of a new faith that would profoundly shape the archipelago's destiny. From that moment onward, Catholicism began to proliferate across the islands, closely intertwined with the process of Hispanization of the indigenous peoples. Thousands of churches, monasteries, and statues of saints were constructed, serving as physical manifestations of the new faith. Over time, Catholic rites such as baptisms, weddings, and funerals became dominant, gradually replacing local spiritual practices and traditions. Among the most famous manifestations of this religious influence is the Quiapo festival in Manila. During this event, millions of pilgrims gather to touch the revered statue of the Black Nazarene, believing it possesses miraculous healing powers and blessings for those who seek divine intervention. Another notable celebration is the Sinulog festival in Cebu, dedicated to the Holy Child. This vibrant festival combines the rhythmic beats of traditional drums with Catholic liturgy, creating a lively and joyful fusion of the sacred and the celebratory. These festivals are more than mere religious rituals. They are profound expressions of cultural identity, serving as a way for Filipinos to affirm their place within the diverse tapestry of Asian society. Churches are bustling every weekend, filled with worshipers eager to participate in communal prayer and reflection. Even television programs in the mornings often begin with prayers, reinforcing the central role of faith in everyday life. Politics in the Philippines also reflect conservative values, with policies rooted in traditional moral beliefs. For example, abortion remains illegal, even in cases where a woman's life is at risk, a testament to the influence of religious doctrine on legislation. Despite these deeply conservative traditions, change is quietly taking root. The younger generation, characterized by openness, liberal attitudes, and a greater exposure to digital media and global ideas, is increasingly advocating for reform. Inspired by movements for equality and human rights, this new generation is beginning to challenge long-standing social and religious norms, while many individuals within the faith continue to hold steadfast to their religious beliefs. A significant number of them harbor a desire for a more flexible and progressive approach to their spiritual practices. They yearn for the freedom to make personal choices regarding their gender identity and sexual orientation, advocating for the right to access contraception without stigma, and calling for a greater involvement of women in the decision-making processes within religious communities. These individuals also seek a broader openness towards civil marriage, including the acceptance of divorce and remarriage, which are often still taboo or restricted in many religious contexts. This growing demand for reform raises an important question: should religious institutions become more inclusive and adaptable to contemporary societal values? This is a matter worth contemplating and discussing openly. We invite you to share your opinions on this topic in the comments below, as your perspective is valuable. Furthermore, stay tuned because next, we will introduce you to a fascinating phenomenon that is truly unique: mass weddings. When most people hear about Valentine's Day, their minds typically jump to images of red roses, boxes of chocolates, and intimate candlelit confessions of love. However, in the Philippines, February the 14th takes on a much deeper and culturally significant meaning. It transforms into a day dedicated to mass wedding ceremonies. These events are far from mere romantic spectacles. They carry profound religious, cultural, and humanitarian importance. Every year, thousands of couples from both urban centers and rural villages gather together in public squares, churches, community halls, or town halls to exchange vows in front of a priest, a mayor, or a local government official. Such ceremonies have long been woven into the fabric of Filipino life and tradition. According to reputable publications like the Philippine Daily Inquirer and CNN Philippines, some of these gatherings bring together more than 1,000 couples simultaneously, making them truly monumental events. On this special day, each bride and groom typically dons traditional attire, often beautifully embroidered barongs or delicate gowns, carries flowers, and seals their vows with a kiss that is often accompanied by lively music, heartfelt prayers, cultural rituals, and enthusiastic applause from onlookers. Despite the romantic exterior, there is a more pragmatic reality that underpins these celebrations. Many Filipino couples are living together in long-term cohabitation but lack the financial means to afford a formal wedding. For them, participating in a mass wedding on Valentine's Day offers an invaluable opportunity to have their union officially recognized by both civil authorities and the church. This recognition not only grants them social legitimacy but also secures legal rights for their children, especially regarding property and inheritance rights. Often, the costs associated with these ceremonies, covering marriage registration, traditional clothing, photographs, and even modest refreshments, are generously funded or subsidized by local government bodies or community organizations. Beyond the surface of the ceremony itself, these mass weddings embody a spirit of community solidarity and a deep respect for tradition. In a society where religion plays a pivotal role in everyday life, the act of formalizing a union helps remove the sense of sin or moral stigma that might otherwise be associated with cohabitation outside of wedlock, especially within the Catholic faith that is predominant in the country. Participants are aware that they are entering into a sacred covenant, which elevates their relationship from simple cohabitation to a recognized and honored union. For local authorities and community leaders, these mass weddings serve a dual purpose. They are a means of demonstrating social concern and compassion, showcasing their commitment to supporting families and fostering social cohesion. In major cities such as Manila, Quezon, Davao, and Cebu, these ceremonies are often organized on a grand scale, sometimes with the backing of non-governmental organizations, private sponsors, or even notable artists. Some events feature competitions among couples, such as romantic contests, lotteries, and distribution of essential items like rice or household goods to impoverished families. It is not uncommon for mayors or local officials to personally officiate these weddings, thereby strengthening their relationship with the community and building a foundation of trust and mutual respect. In the Philippines, celebrating a mass wedding on Valentine's Day is not merely about proclaiming love. It symbolizes the reaffirmation of family values, loyalty, and the resilience of community bonds. Despite these heartwarming traditions, it's important to acknowledge the broader societal context. The Philippines has long struggled with issues of corruption, earning a reputation as one of the most corrupt countries in the world. According to Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, the country scored only 33 out of 100, placing it in the lower third of global rankings. This reality underscores the complex social and political landscape in which these cultural practices unfold, highlighting both the resilience of Filipino traditions and the challenges they face in a modern, often imperfect society. Corruption in the Philippines extends far beyond the confines of petty bribery or isolated incidents. It has woven itself deeply into the very fabric of the nation's governing institutions. It is not confined to the lower echelons of bureaucracy but infiltrates the highest levels of power, influencing policies, decisions, and the administration of public resources. Even former President Rodrigo Duterte openly acknowledged this harsh reality, conceding that corruption was so deeply rooted that the only viable solution was a complete overhaul of the entire system. He recognized that superficial reforms would be insufficient. What was needed was a radical restructuring to dismantle the entrenched networks of corruption that had become part of the country's political and administrative landscape. One of the most notorious scandals that captured national attention was the so-called pastillas scam at the Bureau of Immigration. This scandal involved officials allegedly accepting large bribes, tens of thousands of pesos, for allowing foreign visitors to enter the country without proper scrutiny or control. The scheme effectively bypassed immigration protocols, enabling foreigners to enter freely and undetected, fueling illegal activities and undermining national security. During investigations and reports, it was exposed that up to 90% of employees at the Bureau were implicated or appeared to be involved in corrupt practices. Such widespread corruption at a crucial entry point not only compromised security but also tarnished the country's reputation on the international stage. The situation worsened during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the vulnerabilities of the system became even more apparent. Former executives of the National Health Insurance Corporation, PhilHealth, were accused of embezzling billions of pesos, funds that were desperately needed to combat the health crisis, through fictitious supply deals. These fraudulent transactions not only drained vital resources but also exacerbated the hardships faced by the population and further eroded public trust in government institutions. The revelations of widespread corruption during this critical period intensified public disillusionment, highlighting the urgent need for transparency and accountability in managing public funds. The consequences of such pervasive corruption are catastrophic and far-reaching. It siphons off precious public funds that should be allocated to essential services like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. It hampers efforts to invest in human capital, leaving millions of Filipinos without access to quality education or adequate health services. Moreover, corruption fuels poverty by diverting resources away from poverty alleviation programs and development projects, creating a cycle of inequality that is difficult to break. Sustainable development remains an elusive goal when public resources are drained by corrupt practices, preventing the country from progressing economically and socially. Only through a concerted effort to promote greater transparency, enforce discipline within public institutions, and foster a culture of integrity can the Philippines hope to redirect its resources toward improving the lives of its citizens, building a future where opportunity and prosperity are accessible to all. Turning to a different symbol of national identity, the Philippine flag holds a secret message that many are unaware of, a silent signal that can declare the nation's state of war. Hidden within the design of this simple yet meaningful banner is a tradition rooted in history. When the flag is turned upside down, it serves as a clandestine declaration that the country is in a state of conflict, without any need for words or explicit declarations. To the casual observer, the flag appears straightforward: two horizontal stripes of blue and red, a golden sun with 8 rays, and 3 stars representing Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. However, beneath this seemingly simple design lies a profound symbolism. In times of peace, the blue stripe is positioned at the top, symbolizing harmony, justice, and tranquility. But when war is imminent or occurring, the red stripe is raised to the top, signifying patriotism, sacrifice, and the readiness to defend the nation at any cost. This tradition was established by Emilio Aguinaldo, the first president of the Philippines, at the dawn of the 20th century. Since then, Filipinos have understood that when the flag displays red over blue, it is a silent call to arms, an unspoken signal that the nation faces its greatest trials, whether it was during the uprisings against Spanish rule, the conflicts with American forces, or the Japanese occupation during World War II. The flag is more than just a piece of fabric fluttering in the breeze. It embodies the collective memory of the Filipino people and acts as a silent voice of history. The 8 rays of the sun symbolize the first 8 provinces that rose in rebellion against Spanish colonizers, marking the beginning of their fight for independence. The 3 stars stand for the 3 main geographical regions: Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao, bound together by a shared vision of sovereignty. Even today, amid looming threats of conflict or unrest, citizens look upward to the flag, understanding that a red streak at the top signals the need for courage and resilience. What makes the Philippine flag truly remarkable is not just its elegant design but its capacity to communicate profound messages without uttering a single word. It is a symbol of hope, sacrifice, and unity, an enduring reminder of the nation's struggles and resilience. It stands as a silent yet powerful testament to the across the nation. There are more than 1,000 Jollibee locations, and this number continues to grow, with hundreds more outlets now operating in various parts of the world, including North America, the Middle East, and Europe. The brand name Jollibee was officially introduced in the year 1978, marking a significant rebranding effort that replaced the original initials JB. Along with this change, the cheerful mascot, a lively bee dressed in a bright red tuxedo, became an integral part of the company's identity. For many families in the Philippines, this emblem has evolved far beyond a simple corporate logo. It has become a symbol woven into the fabric of everyday life. The cheerful bee often appears at children's birthday parties, family celebrations, and even during those memorable first bites of a burger that mark special moments. What truly sets Jollibee apart is not merely its diverse menu but also the deep cultural connection it fosters with its customers. The food served at Jollibee seamlessly blends American culinary classics with the distinctive flavors of Filipino cuisine. For example, their sweet spaghetti topped with red sausage, crispy fried chicken joy accompanied by rich gravy, and pineapple-topped burgers reflect this unique fusion. This combination of familiar tastes with local flavors creates an instant sense of home for Filipinos living abroad, evoking feelings of warmth and nostalgia no matter where they are in the world. The remarkable rise of Jollibee has taken many industry watchers by surprise, especially considering its ability to surpass even the global fast food giant McDonald's in the Philippines. It now commands a substantial share of the local market and has become one of Asia's most cherished brands. When new branches open in cities like New York or Los Angeles, long queues quickly form, demonstrating the brand's widespread recognition and the affection it commands from Filipinos worldwide. However, the story of Jollibee extends far beyond its success as a fast food chain. It is a compelling narrative about how a local Filipino brand managed to win hearts across generations, embody the nation's identity, and serve as a cultural ambassador by spreading Filipino traditions and flavors around the globe. Turning to another aspect of Filipino society, it may seem almost inconceivable in today's world that divorce remains completely illegal in the Philippines. In fact, the country is the only nation in the world where divorce is entirely banned for most of its citizens. Unlike many other countries where spouses can simply dissolve their marriage through legal proceedings, Filipinos do not have that option. When a marriage becomes untenable, couples are left with only two difficult choices. They can pursue legal separation, which still leaves them legally married on paper, or they can go through the process of annulment. The latter is an arduous, costly, and time-consuming procedure that often takes years to complete and involves complex legal and religious considerations. This unusual legal situation has persisted for over 70 years, shaped by the powerful influence of the Roman Catholic Church and the lingering colonial legacy of Spanish rule. Today, the Philippines stands as the only United Nations member state that refuses to recognize divorce, with the exception of a small minority of Muslim Filipinos who are permitted to divorce under Islamic law. For the remaining 95% of the population, an unhappy marriage can feel like a life sentence, legally binding them in relationships lacking love or companionship. This reality has led to a situation where millions of Filipinos remain trapped in loveless marriages, fueling ongoing debates about whether the country should finally legalize divorce. In May of 2024, the House of Representatives approved a bill that would permit divorce in cases of severe hardship, such as domestic violence or infidelity. Yet, the fate of this legislation now lies with the Senate, and questions remain about whether it will receive the necessary support to become law. Is the Philippines truly prepared to embrace divorce as a legal option? For the moment, the question remains open, leaving millions of people waiting anxiously for a definitive answer that could change their lives forever. Lastly, one cannot speak of Filipino culture without mentioning karaoke, which is often considered the capital of the world for singing enthusiasts. Many people assume that karaoke originated in Japan, but in reality, the first karaoke machine was invented by a Filipino named Roberto del Rosario. Not only did he create this device that allows people to sing along to their favorite songs, but he also gave it the name that would become globally recognized: karaoke, a Japanese word meaning empty orchestra. In the Philippines, karaoke is much more than a popular pastime. It has become an integral part of daily life and social gatherings. It is a way for Filipinos to express themselves, celebrate, and connect with friends and family. Karaoke bars and private rooms are commonplace across the country, and singing along to beloved tunes is woven into the cultural fabric. This passion for karaoke has even spread worldwide, with Filipino expatriates bringing their love for singing to every corner of the globe, turning it into a true cultural phenomenon. In the Philippines, music flows freely and naturally, emerging from the most unassuming places. It can be heard echoing from street food stalls where vendors sing to attract customers, or from colorful tricycles weaving skillfully through the chaos of traffic jams, their drivers humming tunes to pass the time. Even within the confines of a modest home's courtyard, melodies often fill the air, creating an atmosphere of warmth and familiarity. Here, singing is not reserved for special occasions or formal settings. It is simply a part of everyday life. Filipinos sing whenever they feel the urge, whether they are bursting with happiness, overwhelmed by sadness, or merely seeking a moment of relief after enduring a long, tiring day. The cultural importance of singing is so deeply embedded that it has become a universal language of expression. It is estimated that approximately 90% of households own at least one karaoke machine, a testament to how integral this activity is to Filipino society. As evening falls in any bustling neighborhood or lively street, the air resonates with familiar love ballads and cheerful tunes emanating from small bars, cozy restaurants, or even from the balconies of second floors. Karaoke in the Philippines is more than just entertainment. It is a vital thread woven into the fabric of daily life. Spontaneous singing competitions often erupt right on the streets, where anyone, regardless of age or background, can grab a microphone and showcase their vocal talents. These impromptu battles have served as the launching pad for many talented individuals who later gained international fame. Charis Piempenko and Arnel Pineda are prime examples. The latter, who once sang on a street corner, eventually became the lead vocalist of the legendary rock band Journey. In a country where music does not demand a grand stage or perfect vocal technique, karaoke has transcended its role as mere entertainment. It has become a vital expression of community, a source of shared joy, and a vessel for transforming memories into song. This vibrant musical culture is why the Philippines is often hailed as the karaoke capital of the world. It's a place where singing is as natural as breathing, and where the collective voice of the people unites in celebration and camaraderie. Moving from the lively streets to the culinary streets, one of the Philippines' most famous street foods is balut, a delicacy that is as intriguing as it is beloved. Balut is essentially a fertilized duck egg, incubated for about 17 to 18 days until an embryo begins to develop inside. The egg, encased in a thin white shell, is then boiled or steamed right in its shell. Inside, a rich broth of yolk and egg white forms, which is carefully sipped through a small hole made in the shell. Before eating, locals typically season the balut with a pinch of salt or a mixture of chili, garlic, vinegar, and calamansi, a local citrus fruit. To enhance the flavor, they gently shake the egg to evenly distribute the seasoning, then drink the savory broth before peeling away the shell. Once the shell is removed, they enjoy the tender duckling meat alongside the creamy yolk. The combination of flavors offers a unique taste experience, egg-rich and slightly meaty, with the soft shell adding a distinctive texture. Balut is usually sold from late afternoon until late at night, often enjoyed alongside a chilled beer, making it a popular snack that locals regard as familiar and comforting as ice cream during summer months. Many children grow up loving balut, developing a taste for it from an early age. However, for foreigners encountering it for the first time, its unusual appearance and intense flavor can be quite intimidating. Would you dare to try this distinctive delicacy? If so, please leave a comment. Type yes if you're willing, or no if you're not. Now, imagine standing in a vast landscape where thousands of nearly perfect conical hills stretch into the horizon, creating a surreal and breathtaking panorama. During the rainy season, these hills are cloaked in lush greenery, as if they are wearing a verdant cloak woven from nature itself. When the dry season arrives, the landscape transforms dramatically. The vibrant green gives way to a rich, chocolate-brown hue, as if the entire scene has been frozen under a thick layer of melting chocolate. This mesmerizing vista is not an illusion but the reality of the famed Chocolate Hills, located in the province of Bohol in the Philippines. Here, At least 1,268 individual hills stand scattered across the terrain, each ranging from about 30 to 50 meters in height. Their uniform shape and seemingly deliberate placement evoke the impression that they were arranged by some cosmic or divine hand. There is nothing quite like this on Earth, no other natural formation quite comparable in scale or appearance. The Chocolate Hills are a true marvel, a testament to the extraordinary beauty and diversity of the Philippine landscape, and a must-see wonder for anyone seeking to experience nature's artistry at its most captivating. The formations are so perfectly symmetrical that they seem too precise to be the result of a mere natural accident, yet their remarkable and unusual appearance makes them impossible not to admire. According to local legends, these mysterious shapes are believed to be either the lingering traces of a colossal battle fought between giants long ago or the frozen tears of a divine being who once loved deeply and was overcome with sorrow. On the other hand, scientists have offered a more grounded explanation. These formations are primarily composed of limestone, which was originally created from ancient coral reefs that, over countless ages, were uplifted by tectonic forces. Subsequently, these reefs were gradually eroded and carved out by the persistent action of rainwater over millions of years, giving rise to the hill's distinctive, sculpted appearance. Their extraordinary shape, the subtle shifts in their coloration over time, and their significant geological value all contributed to the hills being officially designated as a National Geological Monument in 1988. Since that prestigious recognition, hundreds of thousands of curious travelers have journeyed to Bacol, eager to witness this natural wonder firsthand, drawn by its enchanting beauty and the sense of awe it inspires. Meanwhile, in a completely different part of the world, hidden among the vibrant, lively streets of Las Piñas, a city located south of Manila, there exists an extraordinary musical treasure that captivates all who encounter it. This is the legendary bamboo organ of Las Piñas, a marvel that seems to make time stand still whenever it is played. Notably, it is the only functioning bamboo organ on the entire planet. Crafted in the early 19th century, specifically in the year 1816, by a talented Spanish priest named Diego Serra, this instrument is as much a masterpiece of craftsmanship as it is a symbol of cultural ingenuity. Father Diego was not only a devoted spiritual guide but also a skilled craftsman and inventive engineer, whose vision brought this unique instrument to life. The organ comprises a total of 1,031 pipes, of which an astonishing 902 are made entirely from bamboo, a material chosen for its availability and acoustic properties, yet transformed into a complex, intricate mechanism through painstaking labor. Local artisans harvested bamboo, dried it meticulously under the sun, soaked it in sea sand to ward off pests, and then carefully crafted each pipe to fit into the organ's elaborate system. When the organ is played, its sound emanates with a warm, rustic quality, evoking the essence of nature herself breathing through human hands, creating an atmosphere both mystical and deeply rooted in tradition. Despite enduring numerous hardships, including destruction caused by natural disasters and the ravages of war, the organ has survived through the centuries. In the 1970s, it was transported to Germany for restoration, and in 1975, it was returned to Las Piñas amid great celebration. The entire community greeted its return with thunderous applause and tears of pride, recognizing the organ not only as a musical instrument but as a cultural and historical treasure. Since that moment, an international festival dedicated to the bamboo organ has taken place every year, attracting artists, musicians, and tourists from around the world, all eager to hear its distinctive voice. In 2003, the Philippine government officially declared the organ a national cultural treasure, acknowledging its importance for the nation's heritage. Today, its enchanting tones continue to fill the air during concerts and religious services at the Parish Church of St. Joseph, where this over 200-year-old work of art is lovingly preserved and cared for by the local community. In stark contrast to many neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, the Philippines offers a surprisingly affordable cost of living, especially for foreigners and long-term visitors seeking an authentic experience. In large cities like Manila or Cebu, a monthly budget of roughly $500 to $700, excluding rent, is sufficient for a single person to live comfortably. Renting a modest one-bedroom apartment in the city center typically costs between $400 and $700 per month, while in the suburbs, prices drop significantly, often ranging from around $200 to $350. Food is readily accessible and affordable. A simple meal at a local eatery can be enjoyed for just $2 to $3, whereas dining at a mid-range restaurant usually costs between $10 and $15. Public transportation is well developed and budget-friendly, with options like jeepneys, buses, and the light rail system providing convenient ways to get around the city and beyond. Utility bills remain moderate as well. Electricity for a small apartment generally falls within the range of $40 to $60 per month, and high-speed internet service typically costs between $25 and $35. For a family of 4, monthly expenses usually amount to somewhere between approximately $1,700 and $2,700, depending on their lifestyle choices and the specific location within the country. What is particularly noteworthy about living in the Philippines is the remarkable stability of these prices, which tend to remain consistent over time, providing a reliable and predictable cost of living for residents and expatriates alike. Looking ahead to the year 2025, it is projected that inflation across the region will hover around 2%. This relatively low rate of inflation stands out as one of the most modest in the entire area, which plays a significant role in preserving the high standard of living enjoyed by both local residents and international visitors alike. When prices remain affordable, it becomes easier for people to maintain their quality of life, whether they are living in the country or simply visiting for a period of time. Coupled with this financial stability is the country's warm, inviting tropical climate, a climate that many find both relaxing and invigorating, and the well-known friendliness and hospitality of the Filipino people. These qualities combined make the Philippines not only an attractive destination for travelers exploring new places but also an excellent choice for those considering long-term residence or even work opportunities. Was there a fact that caught your attention the most? Perhaps you are aware of other unique and remarkable features that distinguish the Philippines from other countries? We would love to hear your thoughts, insights, or personal stories, so please feel free to share in the comments section below. Your experiences and perspectives are incredibly valuable to us, and they help foster a richer understanding of this beautiful country. I sincerely hope you found today's presentation engaging and informative. If you enjoyed the content, please remember to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. Doing so ensures you won't miss out on future videos filled with exciting topics and interesting insights. Your support is vital to us, as it enables us to produce even more engaging and diverse content for our viewers. Make sure to watch the next video that appears on your screen, as I am confident you will find it equally captivating. And don't forget to leave a comment sharing which country you would like us to explore next. Your suggestions help guide our future adventures. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next video.